Widowed mechanic buys dragon at auction for 2 credits. But what happened next shocked. The Galaxy Marcus Chun stood at the back of the grimy auction hall on Station Omega 7, his weathered hands deep in the pockets of his oil-stained coveralls. The crowd of alien traders, smugglers, and collectors barely noticed the human mechanic as lot after lot of exotic creatures sold for astronomical sums. His wife Sarah's medical bills had drained their savings before she passed, leaving him with just enough credits to keep his small repair shop running and put food on the table for another week. The auctioneer, a 6-armed Krillian with chrome implants, gestured toward a massive containment unit being wheeled onto the platform. Lot 847, one adult Draconis stellaris, commonly known as a void dragon. Specimen appears to be in hibernation state. Bidding starts at 50,000 credits. Marcus had heard of void dragons, legendary creatures that supposedly lived in the deep vacuum of space, feeding on stellar radiation and cosmic dust. Most xenobiologists considered them myths. The crowd murmured skeptically as the minutes ticked by with no bids. 40,000 30 20 . The auctioneer's frustration was palpable. 10,000 credits for a genuine dragon specimen. Still, nothing. Marcus watched as the price dropped further. These auction houses were notorious for selling rare creatures that turned out to be elaborate fakes or dying specimens not worth the containment costs. 5,000 1,000 500. The auctioneer's voice cracked. 2 credits. Surely someone will bid 2 credits for this magnificent creature. Something in the containment unit stirred. For just a moment, Marcus caught a glimpse of scales that seemed to contain entire nebulae and an eye the size of his fist that held the depth of space itself. Before he knew what he was doing, his hand shot up. 2 credits to the human in the back. Going once, twice, sold. Marcus stared at his raised hand in shock. He'd just bought a dragon with his lunch money. Getting the containment unit back to his shop proved nearly impossible. The thing was the size of a shipping container and weighed several tons. After calling in every favor he had with the dock workers, Marcus finally managed to get installed in his largest repair bay. The unit's life support systems hummed ominously, displaying readings he couldn't begin to interpret. For 3 days, nothing happened. Marcus went about his work repairing damaged freighter engines and replacing worn-out hyperdrive components, occasionally glancing at the massive container. He'd made the biggest mistake of his life, spending money he couldn't afford on what was probably an elaborate hoax. On the 4th morning, the containment unit cracked. Not broke cracked like an eggshell. Hairline fractures of pure light spread across its surface, and Marcus felt a pressure change in the shop that made his ears pop. The air itself seemed to thicken with possibility. The dragon emerged slowly, unfolding from the container like origami, made of starlight. It was smaller than Marcus had expected, about the size of a large horse, but its presence filled the entire shop. Its scales weren't just dark. They contained actual space, complete with swirling galaxies and distant stars. When it turned to look at him, its eyes held the wisdom of eons. "You paid 2 credits for me," the dragon said, its voice like solar wind across asteroid fields. "Why?" Marcus found his voice after several attempts. I don't know." "You looked sad." The dragon tilted its massive head. "Sad? Like you'd given up. I know that feeling." For a long moment, they stared at each other. Then the dragon did something impossible. It smiled, revealing teeth like crystallized comets. "I am Astralix, last of the void dragons. I have traveled the galaxy for 3,000 years, searching for something I thought was lost forever." The dragon moved closer, its massive form somehow graceful in the confined space. "Tell me, Marcus Chun, for I know your name now, what? Is it that humans call the force that binds atoms together, that holds planets in orbit, that keeps galaxies from flying apart?" "Gravity?" Marcus guessed. "You have another word." "A simpler one." Marcus thought of Sarah, of the way she'd smiled even during her final days, of how she'd made him promise to keep living, keep fixing things, keep believing in tomorrow. Love? Love. Astralix nodded slowly. The fundamental force that your species discovered and named, though you don't realize it yet. Other races know gravity, electromagnetism, the strong and weak nuclear forces. But only humans have identified the fifth force, the one that makes a widowed mechanic spend his last 2 credits on a creature he's never seen simply because it looks sad. The dragon's form began to shimmer, and Marcus felt something impossible happening. The grief he carried since Sarah's death, the weight that had pressed down on him for months, began to lift. Not disappear. He would always miss her, but transform into something else. Something that felt like purpose. I was dying, Astralix continued. My kind needs more than stellar radiation to survive. We need what you call love, what we call the binding force. Without it, we fade into the void between stars. The auction house found me drifting, nearly gone. And now? Now I am whole again, thanks to a human who saw sadness and chose kindness. Astralix spread wings that seemed to contain entire solar systems. The galaxy will indeed be shocked, Marcus Chen, not because a dragon was bought for 2 credits, but because they will learn what humanity truly is. What's that? The species that weaponizes compassion. That turns love into a force as fundamental as gravity itself. That saves dying gods with pocket change and kindness. Marcus felt tears. On his cheeks, the first tears that felt like healing instead of loss. What happens now? Now, you fix things, Astralix said, settling into the corner of the shop like a cosmic cat. And I help. Together, we'll show the galaxy what the fifth force can really do. Outside, the first news reports were already spreading across the galactic net. Human purchases dragon for 2 credits. But they had no idea what they were really reporting. The moment when humanity's greatest strength revealed itself to the universe, changing everything forever. In this small repair shop on a forgotten station, Marcus Chun smiled and got back. To work, a dragon made of starlight coiled contentedly beside him. The galaxy would never be the same.